Right, so Charlie, another fresh morning over here. I was on Fiifi-Manfred YouTube where we have to bring you the latest of updates, the latest sports analysis in terms of all of the conversation across from Iran and Juba Sydney. Because there are a lot of breaking news across by now. There's a Spanish Copa del Rey and Chelsea about games or Arsenal. One other problem again is that consistent, persistent red card at Chelsea for players to need. Two red cards. Two red cards. I mean, one red card, but then two red cards in the space of just a couple of games, about 3 or 4 games already for Chelsea Football Club. And even more so is the fact of the issue of our brand friend Liam Delap, somebody who just returned from injury. So with injury, but 20 minutes into returning from injury, Liam Delap in another red card debacle or him. So it is a big problem for Chelsea, big problem for Enzo Maresca, and then big problem for everybody at Chelsea Football Club. And they need to look at it. It's important. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Football Club Barcelona. We'll talk about Madrid. We'll talk about every other thing. I was on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Don't go because we'll break it down for you. Club Bial supporter. Hi, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing us. We'll subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the channel. Like turn on notification. It's imperative. It's very, very important that you turn on notification. And then in the notification turn and do choose all. Michelle, I go down there in the description of the video below. And now you the 6 solid odds or the day prior to Tuesday. We won another code again. It's a consistent, persistent thing. We almost always win in your bet codes. So go to the description of the video, go and pick up the codes, and then give yourself a very, very big chance of winning something or it's very, very important that you get that done in the description of the video below. I think it was just that Marseille game that messed up a little bit for us. But then apart from that, everything was solid in that regard. I will go again. The codes in the description of the video below. It's important that you go in there and go and pick up those codes. Of course, like I always do, let me say a big thank you to the 2 people who love me. They show a possibility, first of, my man, Yesumo Spare Parts Dealership Shop. If it's about spare parts in this country, then it's Yesumo. Yesumo is probably the best. In that regard. Open car spare parts party Yesumo. I'm sure I also kind of Yesumo. Just call him on 059-313-8221. 059-313-8221. Yesumo reach out to you and then he'll give you the best deal for car spare parts. He does what he calls a nationwide delivery. Of course, there is also my man MOB Clothing. Say entire apparel that will make you look clean and dapper. Say ubeto top, shirts, slippers. All of these things there. MOB Clothing does it very, very well. The best deals retailing, wholesaling, MOB Clothing, or to do our flower station. Michelle, call MOB Clothing. Take the number 0200-668-708. 0200-668-708. Michelle, reach out to MOB Clothing CCM. Let him take very, very good care of you. Where do we go? Where do we start from? Yenko Spanish La Liga and Sanya English Premier League. Abedi Chelsea, Comona Nas, Yenko di Spanish La Liga and Comona. See, let us give Barcelona fans the benefit of the doubt. News because almost every day they have to come here and then painstakingly go through Chelsea news before they get this. Today, Barca for they enjoy Kakra. It's important. What I'm saying, and things will begin to go. Yesterday, there was absolute bad news for Football Club Barcelona. Charlie, after everything that the club has been through in recent times with respect to injury, I remember I said this week, Toni Kroos has done an interview where in that interview he has said that with the absence of Rafinha, Lewandowski, and then he mentioned one other person out of the Barcelona team, it was always going to be difficult for them to beat Madrid. That was true because I remember I did say that Rafinha is essentially the tempo controller in that how do I say it? In that Barcelona team. He makes the things stick. He's the one that ran those channels. He's the intensity provider. He's the one that makes things, gets the job done for Football Club Barcelona, both in defense and attack. Say, started pressing and counter press. Now, usually, it started by Brand friend Rafinha. So his absence is obviously a big deal. Obviously, a huge one when it comes to what Rafinha could add to the Barcelona team. And of course, Robert Lewandowski as the central number 9 that is static to, distract centre backs and provide space for other players to get in behind. It's also very important for Football Club Barcelona. So The absence of these players obviously did worry them or Grand Clasico. But then just after the Clasico, when we were brooding over the issues of Lamine Yamal, Ibanez Nazraoui, and everything that has to go on with it, Charlie, we have heard of a bad story. There is a knockout of Abante friend Pedri Gonzalez, and now officially through the papers of Football Club Barcelona and of course the official mouthpiece of Barcelona for what we've heard is that Abante friend Pedri Gonzalez is out for a very, very long time. And because we're and it's a muscle injury that has caused him to be at this level. I don't know if it's caused by accumulated fatigue, the fact that Pedri has been playing for a very, very long time for the team, or there have been other issues that has caused our branch friend Pedri Gonzalez to get his injury. But then, all the same, this is worrying for our branch friend Pedri Gonzalez. All the same, it is very, very sad for our branch friend Pedri Gonzalez because Pedri has pushed to play. He's very important to Barcelona when Fiifi-Manfred in terms of tempo controlling when Fiifi-Manfred, in terms of pulling strengths, in terms of really getting results and then getting the job done. It is something that our branch friend Pedri Gonzalez has struggled with and it's affecting him. It is preventing him from getting the results that he has to get. When the news that comes, Pedri injured, obviously it's going to affect Barcelona because Pedri injury is expected to return for the match against Real Betis in December 7th. That is where our branch friend Pedri Gonzalez is going to return. Mind you, so the red card against Football Club Real Madrid, that's a classical game no more Santiago Bernabeu. He's important for Madrid. Now, in his absence, it means that Marc Casado and our branch friend Frankie de Jong would have to step up. Now, these two players really have to step up, especially for Marc Casado to be the next pivot partner to our branch friend Frankie de Jong, to control tempo of games, to really dictate the pace of games, and then push games to different levels. It's important. And I've said it several times that Barca need to solve problems. One of those big problems that they need to solve is to find ways to reinstall defensive solidity. They need that defensive solidity, and need it quickly. They need to make sure, say, now almost everything that they want to do on defense is solid. Almost start games defensive solidity, and they are going to prevent conceding of certain goals. Now that's why people are saying. I heard Tony Cruz say it in that interview. He said maybe it should be a branch friend Ronald Araujo and there will be Gene for either of our branch. Most likely a branch friend Rigas. My issue is that so about Ronald Araujo, he's a little bit too erratic, not calm. And again, on the ball, he's not the most confident on the ball. He doesn't have that high level technical strength to be able to constantly play on the ball. So usually it does affect our branch friend. Ronald Araujo, and also the build-up of Football Club Barcelona. It usually does affect them. But of course, what is the best advice, of course, for Ronald Araujo in an interview? Say, one of my coaches told me, if you play in attack, you will be an ordinary player. If you become a centre back, you will be world class. That is the best attack. That's the best thing that he has received. And he thinks that he's a world class player. Who's the toughest player still against? Not say Karim Mustafa Benzema. Benzema is very, very difficult for him to do that. Or not say, how did you celebrate your first goal? I ran like crazy and I hugged Lionel Messi for my first goal. That is exactly what Abante FN Ronald Araujo was saying. According to club sources, Lamine Yamal did not say, "You will see me in the dressing." He said, "See you in the return leg," according to a lot of the people on Free Barca side now. In front of Sport, they are reporting the issue of Pedri Gonzalez. Said he has had a KO, of course, a knockout over there. And of course, Barcelona are looking for a new centre forward, to replace our branch friend Robert Lewandowski when he leaves the club. And one of the main news, the big, papers and what they are saying is that there's going to be a young player who is called Etta Eyong, who plays, I think, for Levante. Etta Eyong, a Cameroonian international, wants to sign for Barcelona in January and stay on loan until the next summer. According to Mundo Deportivo, the boy is very, very keen to move to Football Club Barcelona. Barcelona, Madrid, Man City, and Arsenal are all interested in a branch friend Etta Eyong. He's a player that Barcelona are looking to replace a branch friend Robert Lewandowski with, and according to them, Etta Eyong is pushy for deal. He wants to go on and then going to be the next Football Club Barcelona centre forward, especially in the absence of Ronald Araujo. He wants to make sure things have gone on well. or hold on, in terms of what Barcelona can get in a new centre forward, somebody that comes to take the pace. Pedri has played 72 out of 73 games, and as a flick, he is now expected to miss at least the next 8 games, which will pan for about 2 months. I mean, in that regard for Barca, I mean, not particularly 2 months because they're going to play, 2 or more games in just a week. But then again, it's important. The matches that Pedri most likely will miss, Elche, Club Brugge, Celta Vigo, Athletic Club, Chelsea, Alaves, Athletic Madrid, Real Betis, Frankfurt, and Osasuna. These are the games that Barca, your friend Pedri Gonzalez is most likely going to miss. Now Chelsea, big conversation. I mean, see, yesterday was a good win. The draw for the Carabao Cup is out, and Chelsea are going to play against Team Manfred and Cardiff, which is a relatively easy draw because also the other games about the course now, it is much more difficult for us now. It's much more difficult for others as well. You look at somebody like Arsenal against Crystal Palace, Man City, and I think Newcastle United are all playing against English Premier League sides. So it's more of a level playing ground for them. Whilst for Chelsea, it's more of an advantage to an extent. But then the big issue is that Chelsea will go away to go and play against Cardiff. Arsenal will play at home to Crystal Palace at the Emirates. Manchester City will play at home to Brentford at the Etihad. And of course, Newcastle also stay at home to play against Fulham, LFA at the St. James's Park. So these are the games that then the last 8 of the Carabao Cup means that Chelsea have put themselves in a good position to probably go in and win a trophy this season. It is one of the things that Enzo Maresca, I think he should focus on. He should believe that he can win, because before Pep Guardiola got to the very top, he won some of these local trophies. And I think that in trophies domestically, Chelsea have come close in recent times. If you remember, under Mauricio Pochettino, Chelsea went to the final, I think twice or so. Chelsea have gone to the final in recent times in cup games also. The last time they won was under Thomas Tuchel, the local competition. They didn't win. They went to the final a couple of times also in that regard. So Chelsea need to find a way to win in these local competitions, because it gives the team some level of momentum locally, gives them the confidence to go up and also push for the ultimate, which essentially comes down to the amount of, comes down to the confidence level of the players and how they'll be able to get to the top. It is very, 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 very important that Chelsea are able to get that. So that is essentially how the rest of the season is going to look like. So winning against Wolverhampton Wanderers was good. See, in the game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, the 4 things that Enzo Maresca needs to look at to change, honestly speaking, that was a good win. It wasn't a good win. It was a good win for people who are neutrals and were watching the game. If you're a Chelsea fan and were watching the game, you probably might have rolled your eyes and said, Charlie, what kind of game is this? This is a game that is not good enough. We need to be able to do better. And I agree, 100% I do agree. Now, why do I agree? You cannot go into a game and take a 3-0 lead, and in the second half, every single thing begins to capitulate. You can't go into a game where in the second half, first half, you were brilliant. You've blown Wolves apart. Then in the second half, everything begins to capitulate. And you see, the funny thing is that things begin to get extra worse in the absence of Romeo Lavia. Chelsea absolutely lost control. They lost control. And that is probably one of the issues of Andre Santos had an excellent day. But at any time, the 2 times Enzo Maresca has tried to play him as a number 6 or a lone 6 to control games, that is not Andre's game. Andre is a box-to-box 8, an attacking 8 for that matter, who will get you goals. Very good ball striking. He's building his confidence. He will do better, stuff like that. But he is not the tempo setter. He is not the tempo controller. He doesn't sit at the base of games to pull strings. That is not the game of our branch friend Andre Santos. It's something that everybody has to get now. It's as simple as that. Now, in all of these things that Andre Santos and Chelsea were trying to do in that game, for Chelsea to concede the goals that they conceded, Sunderland equalizer, Brentford equalizer, long throw in, Sunderland equalizer, long throw in. Again, and another long throw in goal affected Chelsea. What is Bernardo Cueva doing? What is Enzo Maresca doing? Now, it appears to me that Enzo Maresca and Bernardo Cueva, their plan for defending set piece is much more of an action-oriented one than a reaction-oriented one, which on paper is good. But the results aren't coming and it's not working for reasons that I think are a couple more. It can be changing players that Chelsea are having. Chelsea are constantly changing the players. I mean, almost every time there is this player, there is that player. Almost every time they're changing a lot of players, so it's affecting them. And then two, there's the issue of also whether Chelsea will be able to have the right players who understand how they have to go on and play in games like this to also get results. It's really affecting them. It is really, really affecting them in that regard. And Chelsea needs to find a way to deal with stuff like that. They need to find a way to make sure that at the end of the day, they get results in that regard. Now, look at the game against Sunderland, long through in. It looks as if Chelsea's plan, and they say they would block the ball from getting into the danger zone. So then they occupy with a lot of spaces in the first, at the first post, with a lot of players in that area, almost preventing the ball from getting there, which makes a lot of sense. The issue is that Chelsea wants to make sure that they win the first ball in this area, but Chelsea have never won the first ball there. Every time the opponent's team wins the first ball, flex it to the back post, and the goal comes there. Big problem for them. And you see, the Sunderland equalizer is different from the Brentford equalizer. I'll show you. If you look at the Sunderland equalizer, it is way, way different from the Brentford equalizer. Sunderland equalizer, Chelsea absolutely do what they have to do. Although they occupy a lot of the front post, they also have enough numbers at the back post. But the problem is, Alejandro Garnacho is standing in the 6-yard box area. He loses focus. The ball drops there. He doesn't control. He doesn't clear the ball. Now, the plan for these set-piece teams is that once the ball is thrown into your box, the ball drops somewhere, and their players are supposed to have high reaction to these balls to be able to clear it off. Chelsea need to go into reactive mode. It's important. Now we'll go to the one with Brentford, because that was the very first one in this season where Chelsea considered from those set-piece goals that was affecting them. It was very, very bad, very, very bad. In that regard, it is similar to what Chelsea considered against Wolverhampton Wanderers today, because you just don't concede goals like that. Against Brentford also, the goal scored from the far post. And again, last night against Wolverhampton Wanderers, it is a simple ball of long into the first area where Chelsea has overcrowded. Tosin Adrabia is there, Marco Correa is there, Moises Caicedo is there, André Santos is the one who is going into battle. Chelsea's plan is that. So Chelsea have overloaded the first pool. The plan is that let's just prevent the ball from even going to the far post. So let's overcrowd that area. Let's have more numbers there and head the ball away. Now, the ball comes, André Santos doesn't win the first ball. The player that throws in the ball is very excellent, throws it to where there is only André Santos and the player. He throws it there. André Santos doesn't win the first ball. The ball is flicked. Now, there's a player just behind Facundo Buonanotte. Now, Buonanotte fails to pick up that player. Jimmy Gittins also standing right in that area. The ball gets flicked. Then the player that was at the edge of the box before the throw-in came attacks that area, the space that's left in behind, and then they get a goal. This is a huge problem. Big, big problem for Chelsea. They need to find ways. They really, really need to find a lot of ways that will be able to deal with this, because you just cannot be successful in playing in games like this. You just cannot be successful in getting the results in games like this if you are just going to sit down and think that, okay, this is how you're going to defend set plays. It's not enough. Now, one other thing that was pathetic was that red card from Liam Delap. How does somebody of the caliber of Liam Delap, and you see, the thing is that Chelsea bought Liam Delap to come and be some sort of a replacement to Nicholas Jackson, who was in discipline. Trust me, if Liam Delap was the same, or if this was Nicholas Jackson, it would have been worse. People would have said all sorts of things that you don't have to say. If this was Nicholas Jackson, people would have said things that they don't have to say. But here you are, Liam Delap, you come from just a long lay of 20 minutes into it, and then you get a red card. Who does this? I mean, some of these things, and I like Enzo Maresca's reaction to it. He didn't hold back. That was a very, very good reaction. Maresca was very clear with how he wanted to handle things when it comes to this Liam Delap issue. He went into the game and he said that, Massa, that was stupid. He was clear. He used the word stupid. That was a very stupid foul. I agree with him, 100%. That was a very, very stupid foul for Liam Delap to concede. It did not make sense. It was not a smart thing to do. It was absolutely bozo and then stupid from Liam Delap over there. It's important. It's something that you have to get in from there. It's something that you have to check when it comes to Liam Delap and how he has to do his things, how he was playing his games. Enzo Maresca was very, very clear. Like, see, that was a very, very stupid way of going into the game. He went in there and then they asked him about it. First one, they asked Enzo Maresca on the second half performance. He said, I'm very happy first half, very unhappy second half. This is personal view. We were good first half, playing nice football and creating chances. We didn't concede nothing. Second half, we weren't doing the right things. We gave 3 goals and conceded. We can avoid all of them for sure. Today, we had a very stupid red card, and that was completely unnecessary. That is top notch from Enzo Maresca, because that was a very stupid red card. Very, very stupid red card. You can't get into a game of this nature and be getting red cards. You can't be going to games of this nature and be getting red cards. It is unacceptable at this level. Very, very much unacceptable at this level. Maresca, on if Delap deserved the red card, he said absolutely yes. A stupid foul. He deserves that. I can understand the red card against Brighton and United, but against Nottingham and today, we can avoid that. It is stupid. That is exactly what Enzo Maresca said. And I completely agree with him, because that was very stupid. That was stupid. That was a red card that you just don't take. Enzo Maresca, it's embarrassing when it's a red card like today. 2 yellow cards in 7 minutes. We can avoid both. Because, you see, it's not as if it's a straight red card. A final ball that you're clearing, and you're the last man and you get a red card. The ball essentially falls to somebody. The ball falls, and you've already gotten a yellow card from, a similar incident in front of their box. And then you come into the center circle where there is nothing really at stake. The game is just flowing nicely. Yes, it's 3-2 and so what? Then you go and show your elbow and win the red card. That was very, very... Oh, it was stupid. Like, the word is stupid. Very stupid from Liam Delap. And he goes on and he says that Maresca and Liam Delap, after the yellow card, I told him 4 or 5 times to stay calm when he is on the pitch. He sometimes plays the game for himself and struggles to see the others around him. Said that's the issue of Liam Delap. And Maresca did not hold back. Which is a catch what they're about possibility. And already watch it do red cards. Sometimes you play the game for yourself. You forget that the others around you. You just do things that you want to do. You don't want to focus. You are just doing anything that you want to do. That is the big issue around Enzo Maresca and our branch friend Liam Delap. Of course, that caused a lot of issues. Maresca and Liam Delap. See, after we lost the balance in the game before the game changes. First half, 0-3. The game was in complete control. We panicked a little bit after conceding the first goal. It's part of the journey of this team, which is fine. But then the biggest problem is the red cards. We don't have to concede the red cards. That's what Enzo Maresca is saying. With respect to red card now, the team no could or home, of course, and a slot. And a slot. I'll say it felt like me, the right decision. I have not changed in that opinion. It's the same selection I did last season in rounds like this. There are many reasons why we lost 4 or 5 or 7. None of them are good enough to accept, and there's so many. Oh, hold on, that's what Anna Slot is talking about in terms of the issues of the red card that they, in terms of they losing a lot of matches. Chelsea concede yet another one. I rewatched the Sunderland goal from a long throw in to see how we can improve. Also, got a few feedback thoughts on this. Have also seen what can be done so far. I think that Chelsea have to spread it up. Chelsea need to spread it up. They need to at all costs win the first ball. Don't shy away from it. If you don't win the first ball, you're in trouble. If you don't win the first ball, then you're in trouble. It has to be done. It's very, very important that they go in and then go and sort it out. We'll see how things are done in there. We'll see how things are going to be done in terms of all of those things that Chelsea have to sort out. The conversation, how Chelsea have to go and play their game. So, Of course, Newcastle United also won and qualified. Real Madrid are in a good place for the rest of the season to see how things are going to go on from there. Breaking Flamengo, Jimenez the Copa Libertadores final. This final tournament were the first final for Felipe Luis. Actually, solid guy. The job that he's doing on Felipe Luis has been instrumental for Tima, your friend of Flamengo. On the Club World Cup, they were brilliant. They nearly tore Chelsea apart over. The Chelsea just used quality to upset them. That is some quality play in that regard. Guys, let me draw the curtain over here on this morning's edition. We'll be back with some more. We'll come back and talk about a lot more of the analysis, dig deeper, and then, of course, do some more analysis, what I say, on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So don't subscribe to the channel, and I'm sure subscribe to the channel, turn on notification, turn on. Do choose all, just so anytime that there's content, you are first to have it. Of course, just when Liam Delap was leaving the pitch, you could see a picture of Enzo Maresca what done in our Casachena. What did dinner tell Massa? Massa, the boy said, "What are you doing? You're going to play against. You're going to play against West Ham. Tottenham Hotspur just in the number of days. Tottenham Hotspur. How are you going to go in the Tottenham Hotspur game without Liam Delap? How are you even going to set up? It's pathetic. You need to make some changes, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you